Welcome to Real Talk with Coach Sherri. This podcast is for everyone who craves self-improvement and awareness. I'm most excited to connect with the over 50 crew because we are vintage and made up of complex experiences that has aged us like fine wine, which increases our value each and every day. There's always room to learn and grow. So get your pen and paper ready, get comfortable, and take some notes. Reflect on life's wisdom. Cheers to real talk and seasoned dialogue. Be sure to join the conversation in the comment section. It is so good to see you. This podcast episode is about understanding tolerations, creating a safe place to reflect, and building a framework to take action. Now, tolerations are just about anything in your life that, number one, annoys, frustrates, distracts, discourages, or irritates you. Number two, it could be something that drains your energy, your time, attention, or resources. And finally, tolerations are anything in your life that are things that can be addressed or eliminated directly. Now, I know you're like, what? Just keep listening. You'll understand. So tolerations act as obstacles to joy and fulfillment. They really get in the way of the things you truly want to do in your life. They drag down your mood, sap your inspiration, and create inefficiencies that add unnecessary friction to your life. Often, many tolerations just keep occurring because of poorly designed systems, outdated habits that you have. You may have outgrown those habits. Think about it. Some things when we did as a child, we can't keep doing as adults. Or it's just a reluctance to break free from the way things have always been done. Now, some people remain in situations that they are tolerating because they think, you know what? It's always been done like this, and it's just easier to do it than to pivot and do something or go somewhere different. We have to get out of that mindset. But instead of using your time and energy for the things that you truly care about, tolerations keep you stuck in cycles of frustration and low energy. Here are some common examples of tolerations. And I want you to let me know as I'm going through and as you're thinking about them, let me know in the comment section, is this you? Which one is you? Okay. So let's look at some examples for the home. When, you or someone else habitually not putting your dishes in the sink. Those, it could be yourself, look at yourself too. Don't just look at the people in your circle, the people you may live with, the people you have relationships with. It could be you and you're tolerating yourself where your dishes are just not making it to the sink. And you're tolerating that action or someone else's action in your home. And you may think, oh, I'm going to just set this dish right here on the counter and I'll be right back to put it in the sink and wash it. And that right back may not be until the next day. And then when you see that dish still on the counter and you put it in the sink and you try to wash it, but it's really even harder to clean because now the food on it done set and it's hard. And then you become very frustrated, especially if someone else did it. You may no longer say anything to that person or even to yourself because you've been tolerating it for so long. And sometimes I hear people say, well, I said it, they know. No, you have to keep saying it because if you don't say it anymore, that means now you're tolerating it because you're still not satisfied. All right, let's look at the hobbies, all right? Common examples that you tolerate within hobbies. So think about a cluttered workspace that just really discourages you from starting projects you really enjoy. I'm thinking about scrapbooking, sewing, maybe even doing hair, making jewelry. And, it discourages you because it feels overwhelming to clear the space. You may get into a flow, and when you're done, you're so tired because you've been doing it for hours and you figure you're going to just straighten up afterwards. But that afterwards never comes. In the next day comes. And then when you go back to your workspace, to get started again, you almost have to start all over because you have to clean up everything. Everything is in disarray. And now you have to really just straighten up before you can get started, which is something that you have just really been tolerating. And that's one of those habits that you have outgrown because it's not serving you. That's not an adult way of doing things. Now let's look at common examples of tolerations that you may be dealing with at work. A time wasting coworker who monopolizes your attention, reducing your productivity and leaving you feeling drained. Not everyone has your same work ethic, and they may not have your same type of tasks to complete. And so they take advantage of their downtime by interrupting your work time. And if you allow yourself to pause and entertain them, that is something that you're tolerating and is keeping you from doing what you have to do. So put a one in the comment section if the first one sounds like something you're dealing with the home, an example of your home, the habits that you have or those that live with you, maybe that you're in a relationship with. It could be your children, leaving those dishes. Put a one in the comments if that's you. Put a two in the comments if it's about the hobbies. You have something you enjoy doing, but sometimes you do it into the wee hours and you just don't have the energy maybe to clean up. And so you leave it for the next day, not even realizing how much cleanup you would have to do. So when you go back, you're just like, oh my goodness, it's like starting all over every day because I have to clean up before I can get started. And put a number three if you are tolerating things at work, maybe the coworker that's wasting your time and taking advantage of the fact that they don't have a lot to do, but not considering that you do. Put a three if that's something you're tolerating. Here are some reflective questions for you to consider, and I want you to really take the time to write them down and explore your answers thoughtfully. You may want to pause after each question, and each question has 2 to 3 parts. So I might have a number one, but that number one question is going to have a couple of parts. I want you to be honest with yourself and aim to uncover even small tolerations that add up over time. It's those little tolerations of, well, that's how it's always been done. It is what it is. And it builds up and you start to resent maybe yourself or that other person, that place or thing. And so you don't want those little ones to add up. All right. So the first one reflective question I have is the home. What tolerations exist in your living space? What type of things are going on in your current living space? It could be your bedroom, your whole house, your kitchen, your family room, your bathroom. What tolerations exist in your living space? The next is, are there cluttered areas, broken items, or inefficient systems that frustrate you? And remember, we're looking at the home. Are there cluttered areas, broken items, or inefficient systems that frustrate you? Now, I will say, not so much in my home, but when I go to visit my father, sometimes I feel like I'm tolerating the things that he has that may not be working anymore, that I feel like seen its best days in its latter days and or its previous days, I should say. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I wish he would just throw that away. But you know what? That's his home. And if he doesn't mind it, I shouldn't have it as one of the things that I'm tolerating. I should just let it go and let him live in his home. But when I do get that chance, I do get rid of some of his things for sure. And again, that's his home, not mine. So I know in my home, I have no problems getting rid of things and decluttering. So the next one, number two, is work. What aspects of your work environment or routine drain your energy? What aspects of your work environment or routine drain your energy? So when you think about your work environment, it may be the way your desk is situated, your lighting. It may be, you might have a morning meeting every single morning and you feel like, why do we have to do a check-in every day? And that might be, something that's draining your energy. So what is that? What aspect of your work? The next one for number 2 is, are there inefficiencies or distractions that hinder your productivity? And this is at work. Are there inefficiencies or distractions that hinder your productivity? What are some of the things you may have so many steps because the systems that you're using is antiquated, and your company may be refusing to get any new technology to help with the process, and that you can easily have it streamlined. So what aspects of your work environment and the inefficiencies, distractions, it could be coworkers, it could be the fact that maybe you don't have an office, you work in a cubicle, and people use their outside voice on the inside, especially if you're on a conference call or something, and it could be very distracting. So I want you to reflect on that. The next is money. And this is number 3, money. Are there financial habits or systems that create stress or inefficiencies? Are there financial habits or systems that create stress or inefficiencies? Think about your habits. Remember, some habits we've outgrown, so you have to really think about how you move, how you're spending your money or saving it or not. And maybe they are very juvenile, so you want to update them. You want to have them grow up, and so you can have a better tolerance level, or not, no tolerances, for it, because you've eliminated those. Okay. Are you tolerating overdue bills, disorganized finances, or unnecessary expenses? This is still number 3 under money. Are you tolerating overdue bills, disorganized finances, or unnecessary expenses? So, how organized are you? Do you know how your money is being spent? Do you have a way that you are filing your bills so that you can pay them on time? Are you opening them in a timely manner? Number 4, personal habits. What habits are no longer serving you? What habits are no longer serving you? What are some things that you consistently have done? You don't even remember not doing them, but they're just not serving you. It's almost insanity. You are expecting different results, but you're still doing the same thing. What are those things? Next, for number 4, with personal habits, are there routines that create frustration instead of ease? Are there routines that create frustration instead of ease? It may be a shared responsibility that you have with someone, and you may feel that you are carrying the load a little heavier, and it's not always a convenience. Maybe that other person was in the vicinity closer and you're further, but you always are the one that has to go and do that errand or do the pickup or the drop off or whatever. So when it comes to your personal habits, are there routines that create frustration instead of ease? And maybe it's about how you're collaborating or not with those in your personal life. Number 5 is family. Are there unresolved issues or dynamics with family members that drain you? Are there unresolved issues or dynamics with family members that drain you? And those are those conversations that did not happen. Those are those situations that occurred and you never got to the root of it. You never had it resolved. And even though that other person, may have gone on life as usual, and you're just pretending that you've gone on with life as usual, you're really just tolerating them and the situation, because it's always right there, and you might find yourself feeling anxious or frustrated when you're in their presence. So what is that with the family? The next with family, are you tolerating behaviors you wish to address? Are you tolerating behaviors you wish to address? That person that always has something sly to say and you don't even know where it came from. Like, why would they say that? And it makes no sense. But to them, maybe they are nervous. Some people say things that are inappropriate because they're nervous or that they're anxious. And it's really about setting those boundaries. Okay, so that's family. Number 6 is relationships, and this could be romantic or a close friendship. Are there boundaries that need to be set or strengthened? Are there boundaries that need to be set or strengthened? And I always believe that when you get into a relationship, especially a new relationship, first of all, you don't treat it like the old one. And you have those conversations where you're discussing what you like, what you don't like, how you like to be communicated with, especially in this day and age with more technology, texting, cell phones, and such. Back in my day when I dated, we didn't have that constant contact. If you couldn't wait until I got home to make that phone call, then that's on you, because that's the only way we're going to communicate. There were no texting in between. Even though we had pagers in my late teenage years, pagers were very minimal on what you could communicate. It wasn't like long conversations could be put into a pager. So our communication was different. Now there's so many different ways. So discuss which way you prefer in your relationship. Some people still like to talk on the phone, whereas some like to text. And if you're one or the other and the other person is the opposite, it can cause problems if you don't put it out there. And you'll find that you're tolerating their method more than doing what you enjoy. The next 4 relationships: are there unspoken frustrations causing tension? Are there unspoken frustrations causing tensions? And it could be a person's habits, the way they eat. It could be the way that they walk into a room. It could be the littlest things, but still, it might either you have to accept it because that's just who they are and how they are, or you can have a conversation to see if they can make a subtle change. And it could be vice versa. It could be even with you. You might find yourself communicating with them in a more angry tone, and you have no idea why. Why does this person bring that out in you? Why when you respond to them, do you have such a snappy response, or you feel like you just on that edge or on the verge of going off? And that's a you problem. That's a self-awareness and a mindfulness that you have to make the change and really reflect on why you are so triggered. All right. The next is number 7, and this is other relationships, like with your colleagues or just people that acquaintances. And the question is, are there people in your life who waste your time and energy? Are there people in your life that waste your time and energy? That person that is down to go out. They want to go out but they need to be picked up. But when you go to pick them up, they're always running late, or maybe decide they can't go at all. So you wasted your time going all the way over to where they live to pick them up, and it turned out that either you missed half of the event or didn't go at all. Do you have anybody in your life, or did you ever have anyone in your life like that? Well, you're definitely tolerating them if that's the case, because now you are impacting, your experiences in life. The next, when it comes to other relationships, the next question is, are there relationships where expectations need to be clarified? Are there relationships where expectations need to be clarified? And as you grow in your relationships, even in just friendships, and you mature, you experience new things separately, and you may find that you don't have the same similarities, or you don't have similarities anymore, because you may have outgrown each other, or not that you necessarily outgrew each other, but you both have had different experiences. Just because you have different experiences does not mean you can no longer be friends or acquaintances. But you may need to have more clarification or reset within that friendship. Number 8 is about spiritual well-being. So the question, are there practices you've been neglecting that could bring peace or fulfillment? Are there practices you've been neglecting that could bring peace or fulfillment? You may have set out to read the Bible in a year or read a verse every evening before bed. It doesn't have to be a different one. It could be just one you're trying to remember or that resonate most with you. And maybe you don't really read it. What are you doing? What have you let go that you said you were going to do around your spiritual well being? And are you tolerating a lack of alignment with your values or beliefs? Are you tolerating a lack of alignment with your values or beliefs? So you can have your values, you can have your beliefs, but if you're not truly living in that way of what you believe and what you truly value, you're not in alignment. So you want to make sure that you're not tolerating living one way, but in your mind and in your heart of hearts, believing something else. Number 9 is about health and wellness. And are there physical, mental health habits you've been avoiding, but would improve your well being? Now, I'm talking to myself for sure. Are there physical or mental health habits that you've been avoiding but know would improve your well being? It's one of those, better, so you should do better. It could be your eating, it could be the amount of water you're drinking, exercise. So, what are those things that you're not doing but you should and you've really been avoiding them? The next question is there clutter in this area, like unused gym memberships or unhealthy routines that needs addressing? Is there clutter in this area, like unused gym memberships or unhealthy routines that needs addressing? You need to really focus and determine, okay, I have this gym membership, or I have this routine. I brought this outfit, these walking shoes, and I'm not doing any of those things. I'm not using that gym membership. At that point, you're losing money. So that's a financial situation. That's a financial tolerance that you're having this money leak out. But if you have it and you're not using it, you have to understand, like, what else is going on in your life. You know, why are you not utilizing it? Because it's for your health and wellness. And we definitely want to, honor ourselves and take care of ourselves. Self-care is the best care. So, with all of that said, with those reflective questions, I really want you to consider them and write down your responses. Don't just have them in your head. I want you to use your pen and paper. Don't just have it. I want you to use it and write down your responses. Now, as part of your plan moving forward, I want you to make a comprehensive list. And over the course of this next month, we're in the first month of 2025, in January 2025. So the first thing I want you to do is to commit to identifying tolerations in each area of your life by reflecting on the questions above. So the questions that we just went over, I want you to really commit to identifying the tolerations in each of those areas. And remember, there are 9 areas, and those areas include your home, your work, money, personal habits, family, romantic or close friendship relationships, other relationships like with your colleagues or acquaintances, your spiritual well being, and health and wellness. All right. So you're going to commit to identifying those tolerations in each of those areas by reflecting on those questions. Number 2, you're going to write down at least 1 or 2 of the biggest tolerations for each of those categories. But you really want to aim to make this list as detailed as possible. So when you write them down, don't just write them down and just be like, yeah, okay, that's what it is. But I really want you to make it detailed. Like, how are you tolerating it? Why are you tolerating it? How long have you been tolerating it? Else is involved? Is it on you? You being accountable for that? Or are you putting it all on that other person, place, or thing? Number 3, I want you to also use this list that you are developing as a foundation for creating an action plan to systematically address and eliminate these tolerations. Now, when you take the time to reflect on these areas and commit to addressing them, you'll begin freeing up energy and attention for the things that truly, truly matter to you in your life. And this process, it's not just about eliminating things you tolerate, it's about creating a life aligned with ease, joy, and purpose. Oh, let me tell you. This topic about around tolerations is a lot, and I know that it's a lot to dig into and uncover. But once I get to the point on my channel, on this Real Talk with Coach Sherri channel, I am going to set up my membership, especially if you're tuning in on YouTube. And my membership is going to be very similar to group coaching. But in the meantime, if you're feeling like, listen, Coach Sherri, I need to go deeper and I need someone to be there with me, and I'm looking for more one on one support, then you can email me at info@coach-sherri.com. I'll have it in my description box of this podcast. And with that, we can do an initial consultation. I always like to do an initial consultation is at no cost to you. In this initial consultation, it's just to see if I'm going to be a good fit for you and if I feel you're a good fit for the type of program that I have designed. And if you would like to move forward, then we can discuss my coaching services. Well, that's all that I have. So tell me in the comment section, what are you going to do? What are the nuggets that you are receiving from this podcast? And again, this podcast today, we had discussed understanding your tolerations. Okay. And it's been my pleasure sharing this information with you and these strategies. I really hope that you were able to get a nugget or two and, have something that you can implement into your life right away. Take care until we speak again. I am Coach Sherri.